I'm Scott Al Miller, and this is my everyday life living in Leon, Nicaragua. We're on the Thursday night live. I've had such a busy week that I'm really kind of discombobulated and just getting things going. So we're gonna get our links out there, let people know that the show has started, get some of you on. It's gonna be a short week, which will be obvious for anyone who's seeing this intro part. You'll see it after I've already wrapped it up, so you'll see how long it is when you get there. But it has been, I have a ton of work to do. I'm taking a short break to be able to do the live stream because it is important, it is fun, it is nice to connect with everybody, so we're going to make sure we do that. But I got to get back to work. I slammed down some food and am ready to go. So we're just going to do a little while today. Normally we do a really long Thursday night. We kind of make it a marathon, but this week we're keeping it easy, keeping it simple, keeping it short. But we didn't want to skip the live stream, and I've been working so much that taking a little bit of a break really isn't a problem. I do need to kind of sit down and reconnect with the real world for a little bit because I've kind of disconnected from everyone because I've been working so much. Brian's here. Hey, Janet made it on. I'm here but not listening because I'm in a class. Desert says hello. We got lots of people already. We're hopping right in. We're getting this going. I've made everybody wait until after 6 o'clock. It's like, when's it going to start? But it's been a week. Everything's fine. It's not absolutely terrible. But lost 6 servers in our Los Angeles data center, and so my team has been doing a lot of moving workloads around, recreating workloads, recovering workloads, and it's exhausting, right? There's just a lot to do. It's not no individual thing is that terrible. It's just the volume of all of it, plus dealing with lots of other things. One of our lead engineers is dealing with family in the hospital, a bunch of all kinds of stuff going on. So it's just been it's just busy, and Ozzy, one of my engineers, got stuck in a gas line in Bolivia for 5 days. 5 days sleeping in his car on the street. And yeah, it's just been crazy. I'm typing to Brian in the background. We're discussing the server that has died. I'm actually working in Golang all week. I kind of started playing around with it on Sunday and now doing projects in it. So I like it. I like the workflow. Obviously, compilation is a pain if you're used to, PHP or Python or something like that. But working in Go has some big advantages, right? Obviously, super stable, crazy fast. MBA's here. Hey, how's it going? And with a little bit of workflow management, obviously, it's not bad. I like the power of the language and a lot of the things that are going on. So I'm pretty happy with it. Obviously, I'm pretty new to it. I've been a developer for forever, but haven't worked in Go until now, and I'm liking what I'm able to do in it. And how it works for the most part. So, and it seems like the right thing for the project that I'm on. Did I say gas line for 5 days? I did. 5 days. So he's been sleeping in his car. He was there Thursday, and then he got home like Monday morning. I think it was probably less than 5 days. It was probably 4 days, like just a little bit on either side, but it was insane, right? And he'd be like, I'm moving forward, and he'd be like, oh, I'm 7 blocks from the gas station. They ran out of gas again. So he'd move a little bit, they'd run out of gas, they'd wait for a shipment to come in, then people would go through, but the whole city's lined up. So it's just a bit crazy. I'm like, what? Why even get gas at that point? Like, just do without. Yeah, so that is that. So lost a server and doing tons and tons of moving. I've got one team working on a new version of an application while doing recovery of a database that's been in play for over 20 years. It's not a 20-year-old, it's 20-year-old data, right? The database is not that bad. I think it's a probably 3-year-old from the database that's there now, but the data that's in it goes back 20 years. So there's a lot of it, right? And it's a lot. And Brian's like, your cluster was 10 years old. Here's the thing. If you didn't have a cluster, if you had a single server, you'd expect to get 15 years on average out of a server before they just die. You don't expect them to die. We have a server with 6 nodes and 24 drives, and we kept backing off capacity. So the thing was able to move things around, had loads of spare capacity, yet it failed anyway. In the end, it wasn't the hardware that failed. It was the clustering that failed, which is quite often the case. It's the thing that I don't like about the complexities of clustering, and why I warn companies that unless you have an absolute need for clustering, it almost always brings more problems than it solves, because you create a larger failure domain and add a lot of complexity. And in the real world, hardware is not actually what kills you. It's software. It's the complexity of managing a system. And so this is not a cluster that we chose or put in. It was a good one, right? If I had to have a cluster, it's certainly what I would have. But clusters just bring so much overhead, so much extra to go wrong, that in the end, every cluster I've ever had that failed, almost every catastrophic failure I've ever dealt with in the industry, I say almost 80%, are because of complexities of clustering or something like clustering, right? Having a SAN for multiple servers, trying to have failover. It's always the failover mechanisms that either cause the outage or prevent the recovery or whatever. You could run out of gas trying to get gas. Oh, absolutely. Like, that must have been happening everywhere. MBA says, we need to get a close-up video of that green wall in your garden. I've been curious as to how that thing grows. It's standard like ivy, like anywhere. It's just you plant plants along the bottom of the wall and they climb up the wall. That's all. Just like you would see in England or New England or anything like that. So, yep. So one of the big things that we discovered prior to losing the cluster, but this sped things along, is our monitoring solution that we had out there. We just decided it just wasn't up to par with what we wanted. We wanted something more robust and more powerful and more flexible, and that didn't require so many resources. We're really unhappy with the sheer amount of resources that were needed for something that shouldn't be that complex, but it just was, right? Overbuilt solutions kind of thing. And so we're completely reinventing the wheel, of course, because we can't find anything that we like that really does what's needed. And we're like, there's this really standard need seems to be missing. And so we're kind of building our own, and already, really happy with what we have. Like, it's been a really good experience this week, keeping me outrageously busy. That goes without saying. But beyond just being super busy, it's actually been kind of a good, successful week of projects and stuff, and it's kind of fun. As long as, if there's disasters and you're like, oh no, we've lost data, or, someone's angry or something, well, that's not fun, obviously. But if we're just talking about having a sudden project that requires a whole bunch of work, well, that's actually potentially really cool, right? Like, I do this job because I like it. And so having a really strong project that requires some attention, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Right, that can be pretty cool. So Luke is here. Hola, y'all. And he says, I see. I thought there was vegetation growing inside of the wall. Oh yeah, no, nothing like that. It's just a concrete wall with rough edges. It's made from cinder blocks, right? It's very smooth, but it's cinder blocks, so it's not smooth, just smoothish, right? Flush, let's say, and so it's able to. It's able to crawl up the wall pretty easily, and it's pretty standard. Patricia says, I need to know more about getting stuck in a gas line in Bolivia. What's going on down there to cause that? I don't know. Just world fuel supply problems, I guess. I have no idea. Yeah, I'm quite amazed as well that there's that much of an issue with no big global supply chain problem going on. Diego's here. Hello. MBA says, is solar a good option for the mountainous areas of Nicaragua, like Matagalpa region? I don't think so. Like, it's probably not terrible, but they're very cloudy, right? The mountains are cloudy like all the time, or large bits of time. So it can be challenging. I like my job because I can tell people that they're wrong. It's true. He's got a point. He did not put that in the general chat, but it's true. It's funny. I actually have a real struggle with certain things in general life, right? Like if someone's like, "How do you do this thing?" and it's like a really random thing, I'll be like, "I'm not sure where to start on that." And then someone will be like, "Well, I would do," and then I'll be like, "Well, no, that's obviously not right." Right? Like I can tell you what's wrong and why it's wrong. I may not know exactly what's right, but I definitely know what not to do. That's my specialty. I'm a really good naysayer, and a good example of that is, and I get asked this all the time. People are like, "Oh, can you tell me a magic business that's going to make me all kinds of money?" Well, that should be obvious that no, nobody can tell you that, right? Because if they could, guess what? The instant that I knew of a business that would just make you money, right? If I believed that I had that information, I would have used it instantly. Long before you asked me for this advice, I would already have done it and made that money if that was real. Everyone who has that information would have done that if there was a way to do that. So by asking for the advice, you're guaranteeing either it's a crazy person who doesn't like money, or they don't have that information. They can't. No one does, right? Anybody that's any job, anything that will make money that someone knows about is done by the nature of them knowing it. So asking it makes no sense. But it's one of those things where, in that case, it's obvious, right? There's no possible way of me being able to explain what the answer is, but I can demonstrate really well in a large number of situations why a given business plan is bad, right? Which is a really important skill, right? There's nobody that can tell you that a business plan is good, right? They're just guessing like you. But someone who can shoot down a business plan and be like, whoa, you're going to lose all your money, guaranteed, and here's why, is really important. And it's something that a lot of people lack when they're looking into going into business or investigating a business or whatever. They will everyone will just be like, oh, I want to feel good, warm and fuzzies. I'm not going to point out the fallacies of your logic around this business plan, right? They're going to be like, oh, no, I'm sure that you've done the research. I'm sure you've thought it through. I'm sure that you're smart and it will do well. And then as soon as they leave the room, they're like, oh, my gosh, what is this guy thinking, right? And I remember so many times I had friends when I was younger, we're in our early 20s, and everyone thinks, well, people who own businesses are rich. It's not really true. Rich people own businesses. It's not the same thing. And so there's this, well, I'm just going to own a business and become rich. People have that feeling. And that also functions as a way to siphon money from the poor to the rich, because so often people with no business experience are lured into, through society, I guess, into investing recklessly in crazy ways. And one of the examples I use a lot is a friend growing up. There was like 2 paintball shops back paintball was kind of becoming a thing. This was a long time ago. Like the big city was supporting a paintball shop. And of course the people who owned and worked in the paintball shop were pretty poor, right? They were not getting rich off of paintball in a million plus person market. They probably had a 1.5 million person market, meaning all the people, not the paintball people. And they owned a really large paintball facility that was pretty cool, like old abandoned warehouse kind of thing that they got right in the middle of the city. It was a good deal. Like they had kind of figured it out, and they had the corner on the market. And my friend is like, well, I'm going to go into this small town hours from anybody with a market area of maybe 30,000 people. And they decided that the market area around there was actually several million, not 30,000. And even 30,000 is pushing the number of people that would commute into this small town. And And they decided that they went to like the New York State Small Business Center, right? And they gave them these guides. Here's how to tell how big your market is. Do you feel people would drive 200 miles to shop at your paintball store? They're like, my paintball store will be so good. People will drive 200 miles for it. I'm like, no one's even driving 30 miles. If you don't have a paintball store around the corner, no one's going. Like, that's not a thing. And where are they going to use this paintball stuff? They're not going to drive 200 miles to get to you and then drive 200 miles home and then go, where do I use this? Oh, I got to drive 200 miles somewhere else to go. No. You're not providing the whole ecosystem. You don't have anyone who does paint. Like, none of this makes sense. And then they figured that every single person, millions of people within this zone, I think they said like every other person was going to buy a paintball gun and weekly paintball stuff. I'm like, even paintball people don't buy that much, right? Like, I've played paintball. I've never paid that much in my life. I know at least 10 people that I've done paintball with. None of us have spent what she thought would be a monthly expenditure on paintball in our lives, right? So we're like, none of this math makes sense. It's all completely made up. So on paper, she was like, well, I'm just going to buy this place, and within 6 months, I'll be a millionaire. And the reality is that she would be lucky to sell $500 of stuff in 6 months, not including overhead. Of course, she would lose money, right? It would not be a moneymaker. But like, that's how far apart things were. And everyone else is like, oh, you have brilliant ideas. You went to the Small Business Center. Somehow you get a business loan and you become magically rich and all this stuff. And I'm like, none of this makes sense. All of your logic and math is wrong. All of it, not just some of it. Every single piece. Do people want paintball? Nope, not a thing. There's 200 million, or there's 2 million people in my market. Nope, not even close. People are going to drive for, no, they're not. Well, everybody wants to do, no, they don't. Like, every bit of that was wrong. And I'm like, if paintball made this much money, don't you think the people who already own paintball stores would be opening more all over the place? The millions of dollars be pouring in, like, makes for a good story now. Patricia says, I would just stay at home. I'm not waiting overnight for gas. Tell me about it. Sleeping in my car for gas. I'm sleeping in my car so that I can spend more time in my car sounds like a bad idea. It says, I have a magic business for you. Asking what type of questions is just getting yourself set up to be taking advantage. Asking that type of question is just setting yourself up to be taking advantage of. Absolutely. It's related to the asshole thing. Now, obviously, a true asshole is someone we define as who keeps asking because they want to ask until someone gives them the answer they want to hear, right? They refuse the answers they don't like and they keep asking. It's a little bit different. But there's a related behavior where people ask impossible questions and they don't need to have asked the question. They already have the answer, right? Like, you should know intrinsically that nobody can tell you a magic business idea. So asking for it is really, with an asshole, it's like, well, I didn't know the answer, but when I got the answer I didn't like, I kept asking. In this case, you already have the answer from yourself, and you kept asking. It's really kind of like seeking blame, right? Not to blame yourself. You're finding someone else that, so had I told my friend, yeah, paintball's going to make you a millionaire. I'm so jealous you thought of this. I'm never going to be able to come up with a business idea like that. I would have just set her up to later. She'd have been like, why did you tell me that I would make all this money? You should, obviously you knew I wasn't going to get rich. This makes no sense. What was I thinking? What would I say, right? I was trying to make you feel good in the moment by throwing your life away. Now you're in debt for the rest of your life. And you have to pay for a storage unit for all your paintball stuff you'll never sell. I think that's a lot of it, is trying to find scapegoats for failure later. But I checked with all these people. They gave me good feedback. It's kind of like what ChatGPT does today. So I was telling, I'm like, so I use ChatGPT a little bit. I'm new to it, and I'm using it very carefully, I think. And it constantly gives you this feedback. Well, that's a great idea. Oh, I'm like, this is not reliable, right? Anything I say, that's brilliant. Sure it is. Sure it is. Yes, that's just a speech pattern that it uses, right? But that's what a lot of people do. They use these speech patterns to make you feel good. It makes you happy about in ChatGPT's case, it makes you happy about the service that it provides. In the case of, your friends, it makes them feel like good friends. An actual good friend will tell you the truth, but the majority of people are like, well, I don't want you to be angry with me. I'd rather be a bad friend that you like rather than a good friend that you're not happy with, right? which is also on us. We should not be upset with people when they protect us, but that's a human nature thing. Chris says howdy. Borchell is here asking, might not make sense, but buying online courses makes a lot of sense of course creators on how to become rich. Well, obviously, the true answers lie in online courses, and mine will be coming out soon. How to Get Rich in Nicaragua, the no-nonsense guide to investing in pre-built modular homes. Luke says, widgets. The future is widgets. Every business major and economist references the production and sale of these, so you know that is a moneymaker. It is true, especially medium-sized widgets. Not too small, not too large. The secret is the medium widget. Diego says, a lot of gurus make money selling courses to escape the 95. Ty Lopez comes to mind. Actually, most of those gurus do not get rich selling those courses. Most of them make very little money selling those courses. They pretend to make a lot of money selling those courses to sell what little courses that they do. Patricia says, ugh, I can't stand people who sell online courses. It's such a goofy thing. Like, yeah. As opposed to people like me who give away online courses. But Patricia says, selling online courses is the new MLM pyramid scheme. Except, Patricia, we still have really good, solid MLMs out there. They haven't gone away. Luke says, if I could only be like a teenager starting a business in their bedroom, I'd stop using ChatGPT like cut and paste. I'd stop using ChatGPT like cut and paste Google. Oh. Yes, every teenager. If you're over 40, you're using AI wrong. Sure we are. Sure. And you're using it correctly. Just because you think it's your girlfriend does not mean you're using it correctly. It doesn't mean you're using it wrong. Everyone has their pillow people. Diego says, crypto pump and dump. I don't get how people keep falling for that. When I talk to crypto people, I'm not saying that there aren't honest, good, smart crypto people out there. There are. But the number of people who get emotional and angry about crypto, anyone who's like, what do you mean it failed in El Salvador? And then they come up with some BS reason why it's so successful there when obviously it failed. They pulled it off the market, right? Like even the government is like, oh, sorry, our bad. That was a bad idea. You got to try these things, right? And you can't be upset with them, right? I'm not saying that El Salvador is stupid for this. Bukele said this is a thing to try. It definitely got him some attention at a time when he needed it. It helped bootstrap the country. It was not a complete failure. It's just financially a failure, right? But politically, socio-politically, it may have been a success. Probably not, but it wasn't a complete failure. But it was, you have to try things. Someone had to try it and find out. They did. It didn't really work. Maybe, but they may have some insight from that. Oh, the overhead, the lag on this particular implementation was a problem, but the idea was sound. We just need to move to Monero or whatever. That would fix it, or we think that would fix it. That's an important insight that you only learn by, thinking heavily about it maybe, but more likely testing it out and trying the waters. And they probably weighed a few things and said, well, this is likely to be this challenge. This is likely to be this challenge. We think this is the lesser of the evils. Let's give it a try, right? So it's not that they shouldn't have done it, and it's not that we feel badly, or upset that they did it. It's just that as a currency, it failed, and really failed, and for really obvious reasons, right? Like it kind of saw that coming, but people get really emotional, have to defend it. No, all implementations are good. Everything people say is always true. It's magic. It's magic. It's magic. Well, once you start having that culture where you have like a cult of people lying about it, you can pump and dump till the end of the world. Those people are just begging to have their money taken away. It's almost like you could call it tithing. Like it's built into the human psyche. Have I ever been to Mumbo Tumbo? It looks beautiful. I have been to Mumbo Tumbo. I have a couple of videos. So the Port of Mumbo Tumbo, which is the old, right next to where Old Leon is, go check it out. I believe the video is called The Ruins of Leon or something like that, but I go to Porto Momotumbo in the video. Camille is in that video. So 2 years ago, but it's pretty cool. I wouldn't say it's the most beautiful place, but it's interesting because it's got a little port. It does flood and get destroyed sometimes, so it's not always in the best shape. It has a cute little waterfront thing. The ruins are obviously, there's a museum and important ruins to go see. The lake is nice right there. It's a beach on the lake. It used to be a port, right? Like in theory, you can put boats in there. And then it's got the geothermal power plant. The big one is there. Usually good business ideas come from years of industry experience. Exactly. Patricia says, I uploaded a picture of my messy kitchen counters to that chat GPT and had it show me what my kitchen would look like if I cleaned it for motivation. I've never heard of that. I would never have thought of that. That's amazing. See, that is where things like ChatGPT have so much potential, right? Like, that's legit. Like, that doesn't have to be accurate for it to work. It doesn't have to be smart. It doesn't have to be anything. I've been using ChatGPT I'm trying some vibe coding, right? So I'm using it to help with some stuff. And one of the funny things, the things I love about it is like it never misses a semicolon. Like if you've never programmed, missing like punctuation is like the killer. So it's really good at like catching punctuation, generally pretty good at catching capitalization, stuff like that. It's great. But if you're like, oh, can you just add this one line in the middle, like you want it to find like the right spot and add a line, it'll be like, oh, of course I can. And it'll take like some huge amount of code and just erase it and be like, there you go, here's your one line. You're like, okay, there were 1,000 lines of code here, now there's one. Well, yeah, but this one's in the middle. Okay. Like, you're useless. Clearly it doesn't understand like how the code works, right? Which obviously we should know it doesn't. But like the amount that it doesn't understand things is so extreme, but because it's so good with like, you know, punctuation and capitalization and really basic mechanical things, it's so bad with when it has to, I don't know, contextualize a little bit. But even then, like, you give it explicit rules. This type of code, which you must know what it is to format it correctly, to know where the semicolon goes, is not allowed in a file with this name. Okay, got it. This not allowed in there. That doesn't require AI at all. It's a straight up rule. Is it this? Can't do that. No problem. No, it's not heuristics. It's not AI. It's just a rule. Can it follow it? Nope. Can't do it. You've got to watch every single thing. Did you do that thing that I said not to do? Did you do that thing you're not allowed to do? Did you do that thing that there's no way you thought it was the thing? Yeah. Did it anyway. Yeah. That's fun. But yeah, it's been an interesting experience because I've really kind of avoided using those things so much. They're a little bit better now. There's a little bit more polish and some. Yeah, I'm finding it kind of interesting, and I definitely like that I can be like, ooh, put in a logo placeholder here, and it's like, boom, here's a crappy little logo that'll fill a spot. Oh, nice. Now I don't have to like come up with a placeholder. How many pixels is this? 25. Oh, awesome. Right? There's so many like little stupid things that you do when you're a developer that are like, none of these require any brain power, but they all take effort, you know? So that's where it's good. Online courses, teenagers in their basement, pump and dump. Tusk is here. Hey, Scott, happy Thursday. How's it going, Tusk? It says, I think people in the U.S. underestimates the time and effort it takes for a niche to make it successful, to find a niche and make it. Yeah, 10,000 hours. That's to become an expert. But yeah, the idea that you could have a business and be successful without, like, do people really think that there's just a whole bunch of people who decide to be poor? Yeah, you know what? Being my own boss sounds really stressful. I don't want to do that. I just want to make far little money and answer to someone else who's threatening to fire me every day, right? And doesn't let me eat the leftover French fries that no one else is going to eat. No, I don't want to live that way, right? Oh, sorry, I think I got my little dog at the door. Give me just a second. Going to get the doggy. I got the big doggy in here. Yeah, you're the big doggy. He's the little dog. He is. Here he is. He was so polite. He was just quiet. Yeah. He just said, hey, can I join you? And you can. Yes, you can. You're my little boy. Yeah. Okay, here I am. Like, here's a few life lessons. Working for yourself is better than working for someone else. Not being able to get fired is better than getting fired. Oh my gosh, now the dog wants to leave. He just wanted to come in and do an inspection. I see how you are. I do. The good thing you're cute. The good thing you're Mr. Handsome. Yeah. You're the good dog. You're here all night. You don't leave. Okay. Making more money than less is nice, but it is hard, right? And it's like, I don't know. Now, all of this is, I'm a person who started my own business at 22. Obviously, I didn't put in that time. That's not really true. I started working in my field at 13, so I did put in 9 years before starting a business. Messy Kitchen. So what happened to the volcano-fueled crypto farm in Salvador? They never built it. Like, as far as I know, they never built the geothermal power plant. They were going to build this whole huge city. Huge. They're going to build a city at La Union, near La Union, which is near Nicaragua's border. And they were going to harvest power from the volcano, which Nicaragua already does. Like, Leon is one of those cities, right? We have a volcano in Leon. We have a lot. We have a volcano in Leon that has and has had for a long time geothermal power, exactly as Salvador has been saying. And we never found it particularly useful to do that crypto scheme with it, right? Which is surprising because we already have it. Why not try it? But it didn't become a thing here. But we have all the infrastructure and a city, right? A city that, as far as I know, is larger than the city that Salvador was predicting they would put at La Union. Adding a city of 300,000 to La Union would be pretty dramatic. They've got a lot of people moving into the country, so maybe that is realistic for them. I don't know. But yeah, they just kind of gave up on it, as far as I know. Tusk says, Patrick Bet David's company is a massive MLM. I recently watched an expose on it. It was fascinating. I do not know who that is. Diego says, have you ever heard of CoffeeZilla? The guy rocks. I do not know CoffeeZilla, I don't think. Patricia says, don't forget to like this live stream. Oh, I'm glad that you guys are mentioning liking the live stream, because I don't think about it much at all. How is Ava doing in Australia? At the moment, she's doing quite well. She's enjoying it. Oh my gosh, the dog wants to come back in. Wow. Get a dog, they said. Yeah, get a dog, they said. Come on, snuggle with your sister. She likes it when you hang out and don't leave. Oh, is she giving you dirty looks? She'll let you sleep there. Just insist. Oh, he feels like he can't. Do you feel rejected? Come here. I'll put you on the live stream. Come here. Come here. Oh, now the big one's coming because she is feeling jealous today. But here he is. He wants to sleep. And because he came over to see me, the big one got off the bed. So he's going to go steal the bed here in a minute. Aren't you? Oh, you're a sweet boy. You're so sweet. Okay, I'll put you down. I know, you wish I would hold you all night, but I can't. Here you go. He manipulated her and he stole the bed. Now he's got the huge bed all to himself. No, I don't know coffee. Oh, she's doing well in Australia, but her time there is running out, and they're trying to figure out what they're going to do. So I forget how long she's been there, but boy, time flies, right? I think she's been there almost like over 2 months at this point, which is a really long time. And, she's liking it, but there isn't a lot to do. I think she's, partially, she does enjoy having time to play video games and stuff. She doesn't work there. So she's got a cat. She's got her laptop. She loves playing The Sims. She spends most of the day, or not most of the day, but she spends a large portion of the day on FaceTime with her sister here in Leon. And I think she's got a pretty chill life where she's relaxed a lot of the time, but also very bored. Like, she's used to going out 4, 5, 6 nights a week. She can't do that there, right? Everything's so expensive. They never go out. The rare times that they go somewhere, she's got all these photos of them going out and stuff. It's a big culture shock for her, but I think she's starting to get used to it. Right, starting to get used to the food, which she doesn't like, and the very, very relaxed lifestyle. Diego says, PBD, must be Patrick Bet David, really fell off for me when I realized that his company was an MLM, and he got into politics and ruined their channel. I have no idea who these things are. Diego says, for real vibe coding experiences, you really need to try Cursor or Windsurf. All right, cool. I'll have to play around with those. I'm only a few days into playing around with it. I kind of hate the idea and like it at the same time. I try very hard to be neutral on things. It's like crypto, right? I hate all the BS around it, but the idea is sound. I like the technology. It's not my favorite, but it's like, okay, yeah, it's got potential. Yeah, I think there's some future to it. But all the BS that people are talking about, no, that's not the stuff, right? So it's all balance, and Vibe is kind of like that, right? There's potential out there, but it's if you don't have the chops, I don't know how people are doing it, right? You got to be as a tool for people who know what they're doing. Seems pretty good. Definitely places where you can leverage it, and places where you can't. But it's way better than doing in ChatGPT. It's agentic mode, follow rules, way better. I see. And the tool call in the editor give it way more context. The tool calls in the editor. You know, ChatGPT does hook into Visual Studio Code and reads your files, and it connects to your terminal and reads your terminal. So as long as you're command line and on Visual Studio Code, and I'm sure lots of other things, it's watching you and it's got that context. So that's at least better than if you don't do that. Diego says, try Lovable and VO also. I think you'll be amazed. All right, cool. Diego says, ChatGPT is more for very specific questions. Id Group says, Scott, why do you build your data center versus renting infrastructure from folks like Amazon or Microsoft or other? Well, never Microsoft, or for sure never Microsoft. Oh my gosh. Amazon, it could work. Hold on, I got just checking some phone answering. So Microsoft is absolutely awful. I would, never trust them with my stuff. Amazon's okay. Not a big fan overall of Amazon. They make it very obtuse to use their services. It ends up being, I find, very costly when you have an IT team. For the most part, we've been on DigitalOcean and Vultr and Linode for a long time, and that's where all of our stuff is, right? So we have a total of over 300 servers. Almost all of them are there. We had legacy colocation we had a full rack, right? Now, the amount that you can do in a full rack is massively more than you can for the same money. And so what he's talking about is cloud, right? Why don't you, he's not saying renting infrastructure, why don't you use cloud? And when you're in really small capacity, or need to be in a lot of different places, real small capacity at a single place, your cloud is going to be far cheaper, more effective. If you need a lot of capacity, cloud gets more expensive real fast, like real fast. And so it's nowhere close to being an automatic one way or the other. Now, the way that we work, we have loads and loads of small workloads that are all over the place. So cloud really does work for us most of the time. However, we do have a few isolated workloads that are so large that they do actually make more sense to have in co-location. Now, that said, because our overall infrastructure is so large, it becomes a snowflake issue. Well, we've got co-location for just these specific workloads where it does make sense, but it makes our team have to work in multiple ways with multiple interfaces, and that becomes inefficient just due to our scale. And so we're phasing it out, but we've had it for 10 years, and it probably saved us, I don't know, I can only imagine, $100,000 during that time, right? Due to the higher cost of cloud for the same capacity. So that's why, right? But it depends what you do. Scott, how long do you think it will take for Nicaragua to finish building their Punta Hueta airport? A really long time, because I don't see the terminal going up. Last time I looked, don't hold your breath. Like, it's coming, but it's not coming fast. Projected completion by 2035. I hope that's not a real number, but it could be. Janet says, so I'm here, but only for a little bit. MBA says, thanks, Luke. Renee is here, says hi. Josias Alvarado. Oh, so you're a programmer as well? That's where I started, actually. 1985 is when I started learning to program, and got my first programming gig as an intern in 89. And like real stuff, like working on really cool projects, and I was teaching at university by 94. And that's when I got into IT. So I was teaching programming and got working in IT. So I got exposed to both, which obviously they have a lot of technical overlap and a lot of interest overlap, which is really where things tend to be. So I actually had 2 independent jobs, doing one in software and one in IT. So that really worked out well for me at a time where I got to branch out in both directions, experience both as a professional, and kind of grow both independently, which has become a big part of my life. He says, that's great. I enjoy your videos. Well, thank you. I just watched the most recent ones about the things we Nicaraguans are not used to. That was today. It was a funny experience. Some things I'm used to, right? And I explain to people all the time. They'll be like, why doesn't anyone know how to make a good Thousand Island dressing? I'm like, because no one's ever heard of it before, right? Where would they have tasted one to know what it tastes like? We go to Red Lobster, right? I used to go to Friday night fish fries at little tiny restaurants all over Western New York, and they all have amazing Thousand Island dressing. No one's ever heard of it here. They don't even know what you're asking for. They don't know what the flavor profile is going to be. That's why they don't know. That stuff I expect. The revolving door thing just blew me away. I was like, after all these years, it's someone that I know really well. Never been through a revolving door. Oh my gosh. Diego says, I never understood how AWS with so much money would make such awful UI experience. It's so awful that there are companies that are wrappers and just provide better UI experience. I think it's because they don't want you to do that. Having been involved with Amazon since day one on that, not that I worked for them, like being involved in the AWS ecosystem from day one, it was never supposed to have a UE, right? That was not the idea. They were very specifically all about API. It's all about automation for that. And yes, they can provide it, and they did with Lightsail. But they're so big, partially because they don't play that game. They don't pick up those small customers. They make people adapt to how they work. And a lot of companies it's not how they work. Now, Vulture gives you, I think, the best of both worlds. I kind of get what I need on one side and flexibility on the other. And I'm very happy with Vulture. We've been with Vulture for a long time. They were a tiny player that no one knew when we were with them. For years we were with them, and everyone's like, who? And now they're one of the big ones, and they have billions of dollars. And it's like, yeah, Vulture, obviously. I think it says, why DigitalOcean and not Hetzner? I have many VMs with them, and it works great. I've heard good things about them. I've seen them most of our workloads are in the US, so they were not in, it's like all of our stuff is long before there. We're almost out of DigitalOcean. They're not as good as Vulture. They're good, but Vulture's the best. Like, Vulture's so good. We're super happy with them. Have I finalized plans for July 19th yet? No. I mean, I'm just going to Managua to go to the party, so it's pretty finalized. Renee says, how about dry cleaning seamstresses tailor leather work? Like, can you find them? Dry cleaning, very hard to find. It exists, obviously, but very hard to find. I'm not even aware of one in Leon. I am only aware of one in Managua. Seamstress, everywhere. I can walk to a whole bunch. There's tons of women do that from home. I have a tailor not very far away. So that answers the tailor thing. Here in Sutiava, just in my barrio, I have a tailor and I have a seamstress. So that's easy. Leather work, I don't have... Wait, who do I know that does leather work? So there's lots of leatherworking shops here. It's like I don't want to say a big industry, but it's an industry in Nicaragua. We are a beef country, so we produce a lot of that type of leather, obviously. And so there's a lot of leather workers, a lot of leather products come out of here. So there's several leather artisan businesses in Leon. A buddy of mine used to own a shoe factory that's here. The factory doesn't exist anymore. He owned it until it went out of business. But that stuff's all available very broadly. You should try to make a tech-only live stream, maybe in the other channel. That's not a bad idea. I've thought about it, especially now that I'm like actively programming again after a very long time of only kind of overseeing programming teams. It would be cool. Patricia says, oh, wow, I thought Ava was in Australia permanently. Well, she was supposed to. That was the plan. Is she just a tour? She's just on a tourist visa. Yeah, but she has no... I don't know. I don't know what the plan is. Like, she has no future plan. It's like went on a tourist visa with no capability to do anything else. So we don't know. Hosea says, in my experience, most interactions with AWS work via Terraform or API. It's the way to go either way. Terraform came so much later. Great product, right? But came so much later that all that early stuff was it's all API, all custom API. Suddenly one of my help desks is getting a lot of calls. I'm like, what is going on? Yeah, I have monitoring on my help desk in front of me. And even though it is 7 o'clock at night here, we have calls just flooding in. That's like 3 in the last, I don't know, 10 minutes. Diego says, in my job, we are forced to use GCP. I get it with all my heart. I hate it with all my heart. Yeah, GCP, all those. GCP, AWS is good, right? It's just, I don't know why people would really choose it. I kind of do. If I was a giant company, I could see maybe, but for the most part, it's like, why? But like GCP and Azure, like who in their right mind even allowed that to be entertained? Who thought that would be good, right? There's no way. Vulture makes me happy. I think we work at the same company. You might. It makes me sad that so many of the IT and software people here watch my live stream, but not the ones who work with me. None of them watch. Nope. They're all like, we have enough of them during the day. We're out of here. It's really funny that people are making connections at work through the YouTube live stream chat. Nice. You know what's funny? I have 2 managers in 2 different cities, right? Now, they're not super distant cities, so it's not as shocking as it might be. But we had someone got hired. This is long ago. Oh my gosh, so many work things going on at once. How many things can happen at once? Oh, I don't have that open. It's being such a busy week. It's like I can't really completely sign off. That's why we're doing a short one today. So I just have to respond to a customer. You guys get to see me work for a few minutes. So Ava's husband didn't think beyond the tourist visa. That is correct. Maybe she can do a study visa to start with. I don't believe so. And study something new, which could at least get a job. That would be if they can't get a visa as a wife. So they definitely can't get a visa as a wife. I don't believe she can get a student visa. A student visa won't give her a work visa. I don't think there's any condition under which they will let her work, even if she gets a spousal visa. But I don't think they'll let her study, especially as she's already a teacher. If they wanted her to work, they would just let her work. Dave says, for very small projects and companies, I cannot understand why people don't use Cloudflare. It's almost free at that scale. Well, because Cloudflare doesn't do that. How would you use Cloudflare? Like, I mean, everyone should use Cloudflare. Like, I use it every moment of every day. Like, I have so much stuff on Cloudflare, but oh, look at your Slack. I need to know if it's really you. Oh my gosh, you guys are on the same Slack. That's hilarious. But yeah, you can't use Cloudflare for most things. Most people can't write their workloads as Rust-based Cloudflare workers, right? It just doesn't work that way. So you need, most people need a VM or at least someplace they can run Docker or something of that nature to be able to run their workloads. And even we've looked into using Cloudflare for some stuff, and it's right. They're like Lambda. Like I get like their concept, but so most companies, like the 99%, can't write for Lambda or anything like that, right? They're not prepared. They don't have their own software teams. Even working in huge companies, they are so dependent on big old workloads that they have no possibility of running that way. Most industries don't have that kind of stuff, right? If you've ever heard of someone who needs Active Directory, which I realize is getting older, but if you hear about that kind of stuff, you can't run realistically in cloud. Can I make it work? Yeah, as a theoretical experiment, sure, but it's not a normal business that can do that. In fact, in all my years, other than my own companies, I've never encountered a business that can run off of Lambda or Workers. And Cloudflare Workers are pretty new, and the fact that you're going to be writing in exclusively Node or Rust is really going to limit the amount of people that can work there. Patricia says, "What is Ava's plan? Is she coming back?" She has no plan, but she does not want it. They're not coming back to Nicaragua, but no real plan. That's the thing, right? So many people. I'm pretty sure both she and her husband believed the Nicaraguan myth that as long as you marry a white person from abroad, things are magically solved. So you say things like, "But you won't get a visa." Well, yeah, but we'll be married. But you won't get a visa. Yeah, but we'll be married. And you're like, there's this, and it's really deeply seated in Nicaragua, and many Americans too. Like loads of Americans are like, well, why can't they stay here? They're married. And like, you don't get to stay in America just because you're married. And Americans think you do. And we have like these movies, right? Now I realize that the movie Green Card was based on, oh shoot, I can't think of the movie it was based on. I actually like that one better, the French one. In France, marrying someone does, I believe, give you a green card. In America, it does not. But there's so many TV shows and movies. Oh, I got to marry this person so that they can stay in the country. That doesn't work that way. If you get married, they're less likely to be able to stay in the country. You actually create a problem where they may get deported because you got married. Like it's really complicated in that way. Same kind of thing most places, but all over the world, people have that same feeling, and I think part of it comes from Hollywood, right? It's just one of those tropes that everyone uses, but it doesn't exist. I was watching Alex Falcone this morning, and he's like, in Hollywood, everyone gets bopped on the head and they pass out for 5 minutes, and when they come to, they have a headache, and then they're off to chase you again. But in the real world, if you get passed out for 5 minutes from being whacked on the head, you're going to wake up vomiting and have a concussion, and easily are going to die. It's very, very different real life from what they show on TV. But if you don't live in a place that is like that, you can really end up believing what you see. Every TV show says this is how it works, and it becomes ingrained. And when all of your neighbors are like, no, of course that's how it works, and it's just part of society, it's easy to imagine, well, but we're married, so they have to let me stay. No, you don't have a visa. It doesn't always actually connect, no matter how much you say it. Ben says, "Hey Scott, wife is just shaking her head driving down Messiah going 50K as motos and buses zoom past her. Have the limits really officially started? How are things in your neck of the woods?" We've actually heard a rumor that the limits have already started and been lifted. Oh my gosh, the phone just doesn't stop ringing. He is asking to be blocked his phone number so he could not call us from his number to our company. He will call us back within 10 minutes to try to make sure that he is blocked. This is weird. Hello, can I help you? I can hear you. This is Scott. I'm familiar with the concept of blocking a phone number, yes. No, I cannot. But we can inform you that you can't call us, and then you're not allowed to call us, right? Like we can do that. No, I can't do that. That was super weird. I'm going to see if I can record a message so you can hear me working, right? Because this is funny. Oh, where's my record message? I don't know if it'll let me. Do I just do this? Nope, that's not it. Oh, it probably doesn't let me because I'm on the video. Oh no, there it is. Hey, I'm going to see, like, let me know if you can hear this, and I'm going to send a real message. I can't hear it. We'll see. All right. Oh yeah, so we heard that the speed limit's already been rescinded because it was such an extreme idea. Janet says, I talk to so many people that are working there, but often in tourist-related industries, things Australians don't want to do, like in the U.S., and they definitely restrict what work they allow. Australia is one of the most anti-immigrant countries in the world. Like, I cannot fathom what made her want to go there. I mean, it's a horrible place. Id Group says, we tried running AD in the cloud. It didn't work. I definitely have run it in the cloud. Like, I can make it work, but AD is such a bad idea anyway. Brian says, AD will never die with people with legacy dependencies. Luke says, any requests from Florida? I fly back next Thursday, missing next week's feed. Back 2 weeks later. I don't think so. What kind of work does Ava's husband do? Do you know? He's a janitor. Chris says, who's this Ava I've been hearing about? She's been on the show a couple times. It's a good friend of mine from here. She was on the show where we went to Corinto in early 2022. She's originally from Chinandega. She teaches, she used to teach English, then she taught Spanish. But she's a teacher, was a teacher here in Nicaragua. Leo says, hola, Sam. Have I made a mistake? I've acquired several $100s worth of mint rolls of gold $1 US coins, planning on using them as novelty gratuities and tips. Absolutely, that is a mistake. You cannot use gold coins here, right? That is bad in every possible way. First rule of traveling internationally, don't ever touch gold. Stay as far away from gold as you can as a general rule. That doesn't mean that there aren't situations where it's okay, but the moment you want to cross an international border, there is some few things as toxic as gold. You want to, in all possible ways. Few things have more potential to get confiscated. Few things are more likely to get you in trouble. As an American, which I believe Leo is, coming to Nicaragua, don't even let gold touch your fingers, right? It is one of the most serious crimes as an American. It has nothing to do with Nicaragua. It is sanctions against Americans being in some countries with having any relationship to gold. That doesn't mean that owning a coin is technically illegal. It is not. But you have no way. So one of the things about gold is it does not have provenance. And so anybody can claim gold came from anywhere they want. And when we're talking about things that involve the seizure of all of your bank accounts and all of your possessions in the United States and making you a wanted international criminal, never, ever, ever touch gold. Nothing. Nothing is more toxic. Like, I cannot possibly state how much gold is not the thing to have. Okay, I'm gonna record this message because he can hear me. Okay, so this is a general case situation. So I'm actually on my live stream, Pablo. So you're going to hear me talking to you, and I'm going to give some context to the people who are watching the video. So this guy keeps calling you on the help desk and asking you to do something that is unrelated to your job. So if it was a request like anything else, you would say, I'm sorry, are you a customer? Then if it's a customer, I'll put in a ticket. And I guess this goes to accounting because that's where everything that isn't a ticket to you goes, right? That's just how they route it. So it would just be a ticket to accounting, and say, you know, we gotta figure this out. And most likely the thing is that we would call the FBI because it's a federal crime. They're not allowed to keep calling and harassing. It's harassment using the phone system. That's illegal. But just treat it in a generic sense. You have rules to follow. It just feels like he's trying to trick you. So that's where there's a problem. He's trying to create a problem, and you don't know why he's doing it, but he's trying to socially engineer you. He's trying to create a situation where you will make a mistake. So he's calling and calling in the hopes, probably, that we block their business and then they're able to sue for not being able to cancel an account or who knows what. But he's hoping that by calling someone who has no authority and no connection to the thing he wants, and he has no right to make the request that he's making, he's trying to force you to do something outside of your allowed capabilities. And he certainly knows that. There's no possibility in the world that he thinks you're allowed to do that thing. So this entire attempt is him to try to socially engineer you. But it doesn't matter what it is. The system is take the message, pass it on to where it goes. That's it. You don't have to worry about what it is, the fact that he's, like, I'm going to keep calling. Okay, just take the phone off the hook, right? Like, answer it and let his phone bill ring up if that's what they want to do, right? But it's just follow the policy, and actually there's policy to handle all of it. As even though they're trying to socially engineer you, the policy protects you. Weirdest request ever. That was before I answered the phone. I was like, what? I think that got the point across that no, I'm not going to play this game with you. But marriage entitles them to survival benefits through SSI. Do they even have SSI? I don't think that's true. Does it? I don't think he has benefits through SSI. Leo says, but your lecture Sunday indicated that coins are not used in Nicaragua. Is this a mistake to bring them? So it's true. Coins are not used here. No one can use the gold coins here. But you can't have them here, right? In general, I say don't bring anything, right? I'm bringing stuff to give out thing, I totally get why it seems like a cool thing. Like I'm bringing novelties from back home. My rule is don't. We have friends here who ask for things like, oh, we can't get beef jerky that we missed from America. Yeah, bring them beef jerky. That's fine. When people are asking for things, it's one thing. But bringing stuff to give away, I'm going to say it comes from a good place. Everyone's doing it because they think it's going to be cool. And to some way it is. It creates so many possible problems. And it violates so many of it feels like there's no way this is wrong, and it's a absolutely black and white. It is a Duana issue, even though the objects are probably fine. Just don't do it no matter what it is. The fact that it's gold, worst possible thing you could think of, but even just other things, don't bring things to give out. Or if it is, make sure it's like candy or like really trivial things that are just not worth anything and clearly aren't worth anything. It's such a... it only makes sense going into the U.S. Because everything's allowed into the U.S. because of the way that the market works, and so we get an easy feeling. Hold on. Let's see. Oh, we could not hear the audio. Oh, that's too bad. Well, it's on the recorded live stream. Anyway, all right. Leo says it's not actual gold, it's just gold color. If they're only gold color, what are they? But no, coins, yeah. They'd be completely useless here. So it would get people excited that you're giving out money, except I don't know that people really get excited about handing out $1. But it's nice giving away $1, but if it's $1 they can't spend, then it'll be like, oh yes, and then it'll be very disappointing. Yeah, it says it was really fun listening to that call, Scott. Thanks. I'm still laughing. I wish you guys could have heard it. The guy was so like, do you know about phones? I do. Oh, can you block a number? No, I can't block some company. Like, that was not my phone line, just to be clear. That was another company's phone line that I answered because my help desk is being harassed. And so I answered their phone. I don't have any right to block. I can't put in a request to block a number. None of that is something within my purview. And I am in charge of the help desk, right? Like I'm the boss of the boss of the boss of the boss of the help desk. And I don't have the authority to put in a ticket for that. Like, that's just ridiculous, the whole thing. Although the person who is the boss there, the CEO, is like, what was that call? And I'm like, you're getting scammed. Like, watch out for this guy. But I'm not 100% clear what that guy's end game was, but he's trying to create a situation where we block him. Chris says, yeah, that call ruled. Brian says, spill the deets. What's going on at work with blocking a number? So, oh no, so it's a guy who's calling and demanding that we block him, right? And the thing is, you can't call someone and say, I'm going to harass you until you block me. Yeah, so it's weird. I think it's an employee. I'm typing this. It's an employee. It's a fly in my nose. It's an employee who is trying to socially engineer us to not accept his boss's calls. Either he's trying to sell them on a competitor, or he's trying to stop them from being able to get advice or pricing or cancel a service. He's got some scam he's running, and it depends on his owners or boss not being able to reach us and being able to blame us for it. And then I said it's a federal crime. The first part of that should have said that I got several $100 worth of mint rolls of $1 coin uses novelty, gratuities, and tips. Yeah, that would not be. It would not be novelty here. It would be. It wouldn't work. It would either be, they would just be like, "What is this? It's not money," or they would be like, "Oh my gosh, it's tons of money," and then be really hurt when it turned out to be fake. Because if a gold coin won't be money here, right? I'm not sure what it is what are they? Like a $1 gold coin. Does the U.S. have a $1 gold coin? Is that even money in the U.S.? But yeah, so that's what's going on with that caller. That's some weird thing. That was definitely a really grumpy person. being really rude on the phone. The CEO is like, "Oh shit, just learned something new." And I'm keeping Janet says, and I'm keeping Tommy. Janet has Ava's dog. That is for those who are trying to put all that together. Janet said, thanks for the information about Ava's husband. I understand a little more about the issues. I'll follow some ideas from this end when I get a chance, but good luck, Ava. So Ava, when she moved to Australia, it was her dog that needed to be rescued because he was having major health issues. He was with Jillian, who runs the dog rescue, but he couldn't be with the dogs that she had. And so Janet ended up rescuing him from Jillian, who rescued him from Ava. So Ava knows all the people here. And so Tommy is happily living with Janet. And that's how all those connections are made. Patricia says, this sounds like some drama. Leo says, the coins are only gold color, not actually bullion. Luke says, Leo, Adwana won't know the difference. They see gold and they see a currency amount. Right, you could be looking at, like if they decide that that's gold, who knows, like anything could happen. And that's on the Adwana side, right? You have all this like declaration of money coming in. The face value isn't relevant, and in the U.S. it's a crime for Americans to have access to gold in Nicaragua. So it's bad in every way. Hold on. What is this? I wish tourists would come to the USA and bring gifts of gold coins to hand out to us citizens. It's true. Diego says, U.S. coins are so little known here that people take take them to be half Cordobas. Right. They're worth like 3 cents or whatever, half Cordoba is 2 cents, something like that. Leo says, thanks, Luke. I would never have expected the officials to see a coin that is marked as $1 and think that it was actually bullion. So it's there's a couple things. One is that if you want to hide bullion, that's exactly what you would do, because anyone can strike a coin because it's not a real coin. So it will, they may think of it as nothing, but if it appears as gold, you're not allowed to bring it in. So they'll be like, right, cash. But a lot of those things, it's common in the U.S. to strike $1 ones as novelties, and they are worth a huge amount of money. I never had that, but I had silver $1 coins that were worth like $50 a long time ago. The U.S. actually has a $1 gold coin. Oh, interesting. That's how out of touch we are here in Nicaragua. I had no idea that there was such a thing. I guarantee no Nicaraguan would be aware that it's supposed to be real money, but you definitely can't spend it here. You can't spend a quarter here. You can't spend a $50. Even normal old things you can't use. But at least it's real money, so you can just. But it's not real bullion. No, I get that. I get that it's not actually full of like 24 karat gold or anything. It's just, I would spend them in the U.S. before you bring them down. If it's a real U.S. coin, that should protect you from the U.S. Because if they came after you, you'd be like, the U.S. can prove that it's a $1 U.S. coin. Nicaragua cannot, right? Nicaragua has no way to know what it is. Franklin Mint, like the coins have, this tiny mint of gold. Yep, I have those old silver things, or used to long ago when I was 12. Probably when I was 8, now that I think about it. Janet, you're a rock star for giving Tommy a good home. Tommy's a very sweet dog. My gosh, so many chats coming in. That was super interesting. What number was he calling? Oh. She's like, what number was he calling? I don't know. You're not on our phone system. That's why we said to be on our phone system. But it was sales. Luciana Fox, super interesting names. Grabbing the phone number for the CEO because it's in the chat, but she lost it. Oh, come on. Anyone know where area code 610 is? We're going to find out who this company is. That's just a bunch of junk. Anyway, we're going to find out area code 610. Someone's going to pop up and say where it is. No, they have not. It is southeastern PA. Allen, Bethlehem, and Reading. I can see that. Oh, thank you, Patricia. Tommy is super cool. I'm very excited to go out on walks, too. He's such a sweet little boy. He is a nice dog. We like him. And we're very glad that he has a good home and has doggy friends, and it's been going really well for him. Still want to see someone working with the spay-neuter rescue groups here to tap Pero Bravo to use their marketing, dog bandanas, hat, and stuff to pay for the NFP services. That'll be tough because I think you underestimate how little money Pero Bravo has. They move so little and they compete with so many. I bet they don't have the budget. Like the amount of money that'll be wasted going after them to find out that their entire marketing budget is $300 might be pretty rough. Because have you ever seen an ad for them? Have you ever seen a billboard? Have you ever seen anything? There's no marketing at all. Right, I wouldn't be surprised if their annual marketing budget was under $500. I mean, even one of the largest of the Mora Potente, the largest of the beer makers that is Antonia, doesn't even have a website. Like the amount of money going into things is so little. Oh, just license their images to the group for use. But then that would cost money. So it's that's the problem. There's not a lot of money. That's the thing. Yeah, what time is it? 7:30. Oh, we've been on for a little while. I mean, over an hour. Not too bad. We're not going to go a long time tonight. I definitely want to go at least 2 hours, but it's got to be short because I've got so much work that I have to do. And as you can see, like normally I'm not working on the live stream, and this week is just I kind of have to. But I'm also in the groove. Like my brain is such in work mode. Normally on Thursdays I have time to wind down and like I work in the morning and I do some stuff. Then it's like okay. But this week I'm so focused, which is cool. I'm really enjoying getting to focus and being able to sit for hours at a time and pound away on stuff. Oh, TJ's here. Yo, TJ. So I'm really appreciating how long it's been since I've been able to do that. And we have a lot of other stuff going on. So like my wife is basically doing the same thing with the hotels for the next 2 weeks. We have our hotel managers in from Edmonton, and they're pushing through to get like all of the summer projects done in the next 2 weeks. So it's new roofs, new decorations, more rooms open, new walls, new security. Oh, Luke says, when's the jellyfin video dropping? I know. This stuff is not helping me with that. I'm struggling to get videos out. Like, let me tell you. What else is going on? New security doors, new signage. Like, it's just everything. Like, so much stuff going on. And it's all got to be done in 2 weeks because it's the only time that all the people are in one place and all the staff, and it's just all coordinated. So it's good. But so she's sequestered at one business. I'm sequestered at another, and just trying to get things done. and needed to move money around today to pay for things. And of course, it's a bank holiday in the U.S. and they just don't move things. And apparently, people took off early yesterday. So even though we did it in time to do things yesterday, they didn't. And it's very frustrating. The hurry up and wait everything. There's always a delay with everything in the U.S. Is just sometimes you wish you could just work with Nicaraguan banking. More hotel rooms. How? Where? Just ones we have never opened yet. Our biggest, most luxurious room is opening in a few weeks. The one that's, oh my gosh, I don't know how big it is. It's got to be 600-700 square feet at least. I would say it's big. It's the one that's mostly going to be my private beach place. For when I go to the beach, I keep waiting to go and spend a lot of time at the beach because I want to be there, not at the other rooms. Like, I lived at the beach for a while. I don't need to go casually, but when I have the baller room, then it's like, yeah, going to the beach, hang out at my place. Sorry, clicking a few things here quickly. And wasn't a lot of room when I was there. Brian, we have 2 hotels now, not just one. We have 2 entire buildings. There's a lot more space. Because when you were here, we didn't own the big one yet. The CEO's like, this is the phone call thing. She's like, we don't call anybody. We don't have outbound calling. I'm like, they're not trying to block outbound calling. They're trying to block calls coming to us. That's the trick. She's like, oh. It's amazing how many scams work because people have no idea what the scam is and are so susceptible to people pressuring them. And the combination just works really well. If you can come up with something that's a little bit confusing and you pressure people, sometimes it feels reasonable, right? Like my tech, even he's like, well, I can't block a call, but shouldn't we be able to? I'm like, no, why would we be able to block an inbound call? Why? That's like being at McDonald's, right? You work at McDonald's and some guy comes in and goes, I'm going to yell and point and scream in the face of the cashiers until you post police out or security out at the driveway and block me from coming in. And I'm just going to keep doing it until you escort me off the property and physically restrain me from coming on property. What? And that's what he's saying, right? I'm going to call and make nasty calls to you until you take away my ability to do so. And the important thing is if you were to do that at McDonald's, you would just call the police and be like, I'm being threatened, right, by this guy. And that guy would be taken away. And that's what we should do here. They should have called the FBI and said, we're being harassed over the phone by this guy. Go do something. What it is it's a fine, right? They're not going to go arrest him, but there is a way to report it and charge a fine for harassment. But what he was really trying to do is he got a hold of someone's phone number, and he was trying to screw over that business. So he was trying to get someone else banned from calling us. He could always call us because he would know which number is banned. He could always pick up his cell phone and call us instead, right? But it's like if you send a mail from somewhere, or you call from someone's number, or you send an email from a domain and say you must ban this domain, and it's like Gmail, right? Can you email someone and demand that they ban the entire Gmail domain, and millions of other users can't email Amazon to get their refunds on their products because one guy demanded it? No, of course it doesn't work that way, right? That's what he's demanding. But because it's less obvious than Gmail in that way, it's not completely obvious what his game is. And so that's why it's important to have strict policies and not give in to people doing those kinds of things, because it's so easy to not know what the heck the game is, right? What it is he's trying to do. Anyway. Irma Palacios. Hi, Scott. How is the heat in Leon? Mostly it's really hot. Right now, because it's a very overcast, rainy week, like it's quite nice. I don't know, 28 degrees, right? So slightly warm, about it. Like it's not hot in any way, shape, or form right now. But in general, it's a very hot city. Like we're quite warm all the time. But this is the nice cooler part. Now, of course, because it's kind of drizzly, like I think today it was like drizzling all day. But because there's so much moisture, there's a lot more darkness, and so the interior lights, and you can see it, especially when I have the studio lights on. Just so many bugs come into the house. Little thing, not things that bother you, right? Gnats and little things like that, flies and stuff. They become a little bit overwhelming during the season because of all the moisture gets in the ground. All those things that are dormant for a bunch of the year start popping out, and it that wears on you a little bit. It doesn't like cause any problems, but the number of moths and stuff like that is just like, if you're and you know, we don't have screens, or we don't close the windows or the doors or anything, so they're everywhere. I got things crawling on my screen, on my monitors, and they'll get into my water if I don't drink it fast enough. It's safe right now. But yesterday I had I just had like this much water. I went to and I looked at it. There's like 5 ants in it, like flying ants that had landed in it. Luke says 24C up in Matagalpa right now. That's really pleasant. 24 is great. I would not mind that here at all. But 28, not bad. Like I can go out, I can do whatever. I do need to order dinner, so I'm going to go ahead and do that and start the process. We are my wife. We're pretty sure it's dengue. My wife had what I think is dengue the other day, and my housekeeper was out today with the whatever it is. It's the same. So probably dengue. Dengue typically lasts about 3 days. That's what we often see. So good chance that's what it is. So that's no fun. And so I have no one to make me food, or had no one. I mean, I never have people at this time. So I am looking up someplace with pupusas. My kids had sushi earlier, which is super expensive. I'm not getting sushi for me. I can't justify that. But there's pupusas Emmanuel. Pupusas Oloquilta 100% Salvadoreños. Oh, 100% Salvadoreños. Well, there we go. I don't think I've had that one. That one looks new. We're gonna see what they have. All right. Now I've had Emmanuel the other day and it was fantastic. But I get a lot of pupusas these days, so we're gonna try a bunch of different ones. All right, pupusas tradicional. Pupusas de frijol molido con queso. Revueltos, that has chicharrón. Pupusas de queso. Chicharrón. Jalapeno, which I do like jalapeno. Jamón loca. It's just big. The cuatro pupusas, the seis pupusas, the super promo, the combos pupusas, they do not have very many types of pupusas. Wow. Typically, you get a good selection of different flavors. You get ayote and what else do we get? Oh my gosh, why is this so hard to, there we go. So like squash and bunch of vegetables and all kinds of things are often in pupusas. Anyway, we're gonna get one of each. One bean, one, oh no, that's not what I want. Accident. So, and jalapeno. You know what? No, I'm gonna get 3. My daughter will want some. If I can resist eating them all. Good Spanish, I really like your Spanish. Well, thank you. Luke says, I can't confirm if Pedidos Ya is available in Matagalpa. Well, you should take a minute. Brian says, Irma says, I prefer the humidity, that dry heat like heat in Canada. Oh, to that dry heat in Canada. Yeah, it's a nice, you know, it's not crazy hot. It's the combination of pretty hot and decently humid. It's not super humid. It's not super hot. It's just kind of humid and pretty hot. And so it's an acceptable warm. It's really not that bad. Brian says, I had a friend go to El Salvador a few months ago and came back with dengue, or however it's spelled. Yeah, Yeah, dengue happens. I had dengue. I think it was right after you were here last time, Brian. It was definitely when I was living in that house, because when you were here, I was living in the Laborio house, and at some point in the Laborio house, I had dengue, and yeah, it's a real thing. My wife said she lost 8 pounds in 3 days, that's very indicative of dengue. Dengue will take you down fast, so be aware. Luke, I have the new Pedidos Ja that is you pay $5 a month and then you get no service fees or something. And honestly, I order so much Pedidos Ja that it's going to pay for itself in its first week. So I'm getting 3 pupusas. Oh, wait, they're charging me for delivery. Wait, what? You're not supposed to charge me for delivery? Oh, no. That's the tip and stuff. That's fine, I think. No. It's not clear what's going on. And they should have. Because they charged me earlier and didn't deliver me my food. We'll see what happens. The flies in here really worried you. There we go. Woohoo! We're green. We're getting food. Luke says, "Love me some Loroco pupusas." Luke, can't get the app to accept the address. I see the drivers on motos, but I don't see the logo. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. No matter where I go, it's just like, "Are you around here?" I'm like, "Yep." And then it's just like, okay. I use it. I swear I used it at the Princess, but I guess I don't actually know that I did. Because someone said they couldn't get food delivery at the Princess, and I'm sure that that's not the way it is now. Wait. I was just there. I most definitely had food delivered to me while I was at the Hilton Princess. So whoever posted that today, that is not the experience that I had. They said that they weren't allowed to bring in food or whatever. I had food delivered. It was no problem. They could not bring it up to my room because I was on a locked floor. I was on the executive floor, which is actually a reason not to be on the executive floor. I was living in a Hilton hotel for a week in Houston, and I was on a normal floor, and they would show up at the front desk, and I'd be like, "Can they come up?" And they'd be like, "Absolutely," and up they would come, and they would deliver it right to my hotel room door, which is fantastic. What is going on? Something weird on this particular server. I'm looking into it. Things are already deployed, it looks like. What weirdness is this? Posing inventory. Oh. Apparently it's been there for a while. What do I know? WS05. Let's go look in the logs. Logs. That's my life. Looking at logs. Oh yeah, there it is. That was totally my fault. Because it won't accept the address. It won't show restaurants in the proximity. Oh, right. Why, that's weird. How did they end up like that? That is bizarre. I figure I will do the live stream until my food arrives. That's going to be my guide. So it's not going to be a long time because it's pupusas. But we've only got so many people on. I really don't know how many. I'm not watching the numbers tonight. It's a light night. But I really am excited about this work. It's so just nice. You know, so much of what I do on the IT side is so often fixing things, which is cool. I enjoy fixing things, right? Because they're like, oh no, it's broken, or oh no, we're stumped or something. And then it's like, oh, we're going to solve this. Like, that's fun. And sometimes we get to be really creative, and that's fun. And, you know, there's a lot of things I like about it, but there's also a certain amount of, well, we don't really get to very often create. Right. And coming from a background in software, I had a lot of years where creating stuff was pretty good. And other than, you know, having kids and stuff, one of the absolutely best parts of my life was in 1999, 2000, 2001. My roommate and business partner and I, I hate looking at logs, necessary evil. Yeah, I know. We basically sequestered for a really long time, and we're kind of bootstrapping our lives. And so we got an apartment together on site with a customer, and spent all of our time building software. All of our time dealing directly with clients and each other. So it was like, so I was a software designer, so he wrote most of the code, and I definitely did all the database design. I did all the application design, but he did all the physical coding, or really close to that, right? But we would work together the entire day. So we would wake up. There wasn't any discussion of anything except what are we eating, and then it was work. And that focus was really amazing. You just got really into it, and just your brain was just able to really attach, and it was so deep and rewarding, and making products, and so often when you, especially if you're coding like on the side, oh, I got to do this project, I got a few hours, I'll slip it in here and there, it becomes very casual, very well. I didn't do any testing. I didn't polish it. It doesn't handle edge cases at all. It's really just kind of limping along, and it's really kind of depressing in a lot of ways, because you're like, well, I don't really want to show it off, and you can't do anything with it. But when you're able to spend time and really focus, and this is like really rewarding for me, so I'm like really focused, and I'm like, wait, I don't have to go do something else. I can just do this, and that's okay. And it's like, ooh, that feels so good. And you know, today I had to show off some of the product because it triggered an alert at a customer because we were using it. And they're like, what is this code? And I'm like, oh, sorry, that's us. And we're like, oh, we can send you a binary to fingerprint or whatever, because we're pumping out our own binaries already and deploying them at a lot of places. And in just a few days of work, which is really cool. But it's like, we have things to show, and people are like, ooh, this looks really cool. And I showed it to my engineering team. They're like, what? This is crazy. Like, this looks really good. Like, this does stuff, and it's really neat. And it's just, that's rewarding, like actually creating finished products, making things that people are actually looking at, making things that people are excited about, that you want to show off. Like that's cool, right? That's stuff that I really like. So that's even though I'm kind of stressed and overworked, I'm really kind of happy with kind of the week. Oh, Luke says, signing off, I have homework on reflexive verbs. Audio, y'all. See you later, Luke. Have a good one. It's it's kind of like being a sculptor and actually finishing a sculpture, and not just like getting some marble and playing with it. It's nice to have something and be like, hey, I could show this to somebody. Like, that's pretty cool. So all these bugs, go away, go away. You just go like this, you're gonna kill a bunch of bugs. I keep going into different systems and checking them out. So what's everybody doing this weekend? We had the Ipico here this week. I ended up not going. My wife was supposed to record some of it for me, but I don't know if she did. It was kind of dark and rainy, and because of this stuff going on, it was like, no, I can't go to the Ipico this week. It just does not work. But I like going to the Ipicos. I really like filming them. I hope I get to go to some this summer. I have been to the Leon one more than others, so it's kind of nice to go to other places and see them rather than just be in Leon. Nagarote was fantastic when I went there, so hopefully that comes up pretty soon. And according to this, it should be about 20 minutes for the pupusas. So I'm interested in this new pupusa place because pupusas are delicious. What's nice is my youngest is very much into pupusas. She's kind of discovered them more recently. It's it's interesting for me having my kids having grown up in Dallas, and we lived in Little Salvador in Dallas all the time that we lived there. So my youngest was actually born in Little Salvador, right? Like that was her home as a child, and then we moved to Spain and Panama and Nicaragua. So to me and my wife, and to some degree my eldest daughter, pupusas are an exotic food that we didn't discover until we were older. I guess for my older daughter, she discovered them when she was like 4 or 5, but she didn't have them before that. But to my youngest daughter, they're a food that has just always existed. She's never not had 4 pupusa places within walking distance. I mean, when she couldn't walk, obviously, but to me, they're still kind of a novelty, right? I was too old when I first got access to pupusas that they will never feel like home food. They're delicious, they're comforting, but they will never be the food of home or anything like that. They're just not reasonable. And so they're always kind of this, it's kind of like growing up in New York. No matter how many times I go to Taco Bell, it's still not the food of home. But if you're from Dallas, it is. So it's kind of like that. So, but my youngest daughter never really liked pupusas. She would eat them, but we basically never had them for her until recently. And now she's like, ooh, pupusas, I really like them. And she gets excited about us ordering them. So it's cool that now it's a thing we can do. Now my eldest daughter, she's so tough with food. There's just no overlap. We have to get her specialty food of her own every day. Like there's no way around it. So that's a entire life challenge that will simply always be there as a hard thing that I have to deal with. But it's nice that my youngest and I can share a love of pupusas. And my wife loves pupusas. And El Salvador is really close. My youngest has never been there to have real street pupusas from El Salvador. That is the thing to do. I do love pupusas on the street in El Salvador. Leo says, you have so much trouble with insects coming into the house. Wouldn't it make sense to put in screens? Elton was showing a house that he rented and installed screens on because of the bug problem. It would not. If you saw my house, you would say, oh, no, that's not possible. Not even slightly. Wood screens. So I only have problems with bugs because of the studio lights. And so what I plan to do, because these windows need to be sealed, as does the door here, but I never have time to have anything done. So that's a separate problem. But there's no way to screen my house. If you physically saw it, it would just be like, wow, that would be a ton of screens. And how do you deal with all the doors? Because the doors are wide open, right? And you can't screen those with all the animals running in and out. So you have to think of my house is just the outdoors. And so it is what it is. If the insects are too much, that's just too bad. All right, my pupusas are on the road, but they're coming from across town, so across the city. Actually, I don't know where they are on the map. Oh, okay, they're coming from Guadalupe. Oh, they're coming from deep in the barrio. Nice. That's serious Barrioville down there. So these are going to be good pupusas, I bet. That's how you know. No one said what they're doing this weekend. So other places, Leo, though, that would be logical. There's a lot of places that it could make sense to have screens, but most people don't have the bright lights at night like we do. So most people don't have the problem. We have a garden, and I have these incredibly bright studio lights, and every and I can't seal the wood. Like I don't have time to. My handyman has not been here in forever. There's like a lot of things. So we're kind of a special case. If you were doing other things, you would, one, not have the insect problem, and you'd also have easy ways to solve it. And then, there are houses that have screens, and it would make it better. for a lot of the year. That's true, but because we're so open, we're just not able to do that. But I know a lot of people, right? Obviously, because I live here, I know loads and loads of Nicaraguans who have wide open houses and absolutely no screens and have no problems, right? The insects really don't come in because they do not have bright lights. If they do, they're outside. This is one of those, our Americanisms make us so odd compared to everyone else that it just makes for its own challenges that most people don't have. So don't be surprised if you come to Nicaragua and are like, there's really no insects, or you have a ton. Like, that does happen. But for the most part, you'll be like, oh, it's really not that thing. Should I get a dengue vaccine before I make the trip? It depends. We pretty much all just live with it. If you're susceptible to it, yeah, you probably want to have, it's kind of like the flu here, except, I honestly don't know anyone who gets the flu. Maybe because everyone gets flu shots, but I don't think that's true. I know very few people who get flu shots, but definitely more than, I don't know anyone who gets dengue shots. But if you can get a dengue shot, that may make sense because it's unpleasant, right? Let's just be clear. It's a very high fever that hits you very fast and lasts for a few days, and you lose a lot of weight, and that part's generally good, but it is no bueno for sure. Especially if you may be weaker or more susceptible to it, it could be well worth taking a little bit of precautions. I do not worry about it. I had it, like I said, in 2022. And for me, I was laid up. Don't get me wrong. I was unhappy while it was going on. But at the end of the day, it really was not that bad. I do not worry about getting it again. 2 people in my house have dengue. I'm not like, oh no, I've got to take precautions, which is, there's only so many you can take. But it's not worrying me in any significant way or anything like that. So, if you were like, you're getting dengue tomorrow, I'd be like, oh, that's going to really disrupt my schedule, right? And even then, I'll be like, I can probably still work through it, right? So, it's not necessarily all that bad, but yeah, that is the dengue. And then you can also end up with chikungunya here. And of course, it's possible that that's what it is. It's possible that it's the flu. It's possible that it's chikungunya. There's more than one thing. So it's a little bit difficult because if you get a dengue vaccine, it's one of those cases where people are like, semantics, they're all the same. Well, not when you're getting a vaccine. They're completely different, right? They're not related. So if you're just getting random vaccines, obviously that won't work. I've not heard that it's dengue season. Normally when it is, people are like, oh, dengue's going around. We know a lot of people with it. This is more likely just isolated people who have it, but it's hard to say. So sorry, I'm trying to watch the map here as they are delivering my food across town. They're making multiple stops, I can tell. And there's that whole can't go above 30 miles an hour thing, which hopefully really doesn't exist. But Renee says, would you say light winter clothes for Matagalpa? I would not. 24 degrees is what you want to air condition your house to when it's hot out, right? You're still in Matagalpa trying to stay cool. It's just much easier to stay cool in Matagalpa than it is down here. You're not in any way trying to stay warm. Because remember, you're talking about the tropics here, right? So picture, would you say light winter clothes for a tropical jungle? No, not generally. Even if it's slightly cooler. Like, you wouldn't do light winter clothes even in Guatemala, which is way cooler than here. It's just not, cooler is not cool. Not the same. Stuff my map likes to close. He's really having a hard time getting out of Guadalupe, or is he might be sitting at the Semaforo. Some bug just fell. So it's funny. I have some spiders that like to live directly above me, like little jumping spiders, and they'll drop on my head, and I'll be like, ah, and they'll end up like they run around on my shoulders. I'm like, why? Why? But there's all these little bugs, so I'm sure they're doing great. But it's like, dropping on my head, do you really have to? They don't do anything to you, right? So I've learned, when I was a kid, I was very, very afraid of all the insects, all the spiders, just like my daughters. So they definitely get it from me for sure. But as I've gotten older, like I've lost all that. Like I'm annoyed for sure at all the little bugs flying around. They get up your nose, get in your eyes if you're not careful. Like I hate that stuff. Who doesn't? But it's funny how much I was afraid of insects when I was a kid. And as an adult, I'm just like, whatever, I'll just carry the spider outside. Sometimes I have spiders on my shoulders and I was like, whatever, like you're not bothering me. It's not going to bite me. So that's like I can remember how scared I was of insects when I was a kid. So it's weird to me that now they don't bother me. Now centipedes still bother me like you wouldn't believe. But other than that, normal things. Now I don't like them, right? That's not the same, but so I don't feel too bad that we're doing a short night because you guys are pretty quiet tonight too. Oh yeah, check them out. He still hasn't moved. Oh, I guess he moved. He moved like a block. I think he's doing multiple deliveries, so that's most likely what's going on. And pupusas are always way too hot, so I'm glad to be at the end of his delivery because once I get it, I want to eat it, and you got to wait like 20 minutes anyway, so. Luke left and everybody got quiet. I see how it is. He is. Oh, this is funny. He's actually right in front of Marcela's house right now. That's where the pupusa guy is. Oh, Brent is here. Hola, hola. Brent, you made it just as we're going to sign off in just a couple minutes. I've got pupusas coming down the street. They're in San Mateo right now, and which means they're going to be here in just, I can walk there in under 30 minutes. So as soon as they're so close that I need to go out to get them, I'm going to sign off and call it a night. You can watch the beginning of the live stream. I explained I've got so much work going on. It's not bad stuff, really. We had... hope no cockroaches there in Nicaragua. There are cockroaches here, not nearly as many as Texas, not even close, but more than New York, I would say, because I grew up in New York and lived in Texas a long time. We do get them, but it's one of those, keep in mind, we leave the house wide open. We don't close the doors. We don't have screens on the windows. We don't close them at night. We close the doors at night, but the windows are wide open. Cats come and go from the house. We are absolutely wide open all the time, 24 hours a day. And so when we get the occasional cockroach in the house, we have done nothing to discourage them from coming in. And I'm surrounded by gardens. So it's so inviting for everything to come into this house that if we're just getting... a few, there are very, very few, right? It really isn't something that's going to be a major problem. If you put in a little bit of effort to avoiding cockroaches, you probably will. And Marcela is a good guide. She's deathly afraid of cockroaches. She can't do anything if there's cockroaches. Oh, this is weird. There must be something going on in... in Santa Maria. There's a roadblock and they're making people go through the neighborhood and come back out to the road. That's really weird. All right, he is right down the street, so it is time for me to go. Sorry, everyone, that we got to cut it short this week, but thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Remember to hit like on the episode and go watch another video since we're doing a short one today. And we'll do another long one next week, I'm sure. Maybe I'll even get to show off the project that I'm working on. That would be cool. Actually, I hope that I get enough done that I can. Brent says, bad timing on my part. Enjoy the pupusas. Hope everyone there's well. Wishing Marcela well. Marcela just had her 11th chemo. On the 30th will be her 12th and final, we hope, chemo. Supposed to be her final one, so that is where she is. We'll maybe see her on the show next week. I'm not sure. And thanks, everyone. I will see you all tomorrow.